Alrighty folks, welcome back to another deck guide review thingy. And this time we're going to cover Ezreal Kennen. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck. Since the recent nerfs to Kinku Wayfinder, I've had to change this deck up a little bit. I took out a few cards and put in 3 dancing droplets. I took out one of the God Willow Seeds. I'm only running 2 of those. And I'm still running 3 Kinku Wayfinders because getting 2 Kennens on the board is still really solid. Really solid when you have 2 leveled Kennens on the board. That's kind of the nuts. That's the dream right there. And even sometimes I find myself having too many cards in hand, and having a 3rd Kennen would be kind of moot. It wouldn't really do anything because my hand was so full of cards that I couldn't generate any more of the his shurikens, his Mark of the Storms. You got 3 Eye of the Dragon because it's the best healing card in the game, and it can also level up Kennen pretty quickly. Recall is a 3 of because you want to be able to shadow block and draw with your droplet. 2 Notifies because there's a lot of, I see a lot of darkness going around, and Notify is really good against darkness. It's really good against single combat. I see a couple of dragon decks every once in a while. You see that pretty often in those decks. So that's a pretty solid card to be having right now. A lot of Pokey Sticks as well, and you don't want your Kennen to just get Pokey Sticked. You never like that. 3 Retreats because this card is excellent for the condition, meeting the condition of Eye of the Dragon, and it protects your Ezreal, your Kennen, sometimes even your Eye of the Dragon it'll protect. So really solid card, automatic 3 of in this kind of deck. Twin Disciplines is a 3 of. You can get sometimes you get some surprise lethals when you have 2 of these in your hand, because you have a decent amount of elusive units, and sometimes they don't want to block your Kennen either. Oftentimes people just won't block your Kennen because it gives you more Mark of the Storms, so they just don't block the Kennen. And that is a really solid way of getting 3 or 6 damage in a turn. And it puts them into a pretty tight situation where they have to block the Kennen. And then you get the double Eye of the Storm, as long as he's leveled up. And that's really when you want to play Kennen. You don't necessarily even want to keep Kennen in your opening hand. If you already have a God Willow Seed, then you can definitely keep the Kennen. But if you don't have a God Willow Seedling, I oftentimes just throw the Kennen back. You really want to find Dancing Droplet. Depending on the matchup, Eye of the Dragon is really important to have. And God Willow Seedling is very good to have in your opening hand. It lets you level Kennen ridiculously fast, and if you're using the droplet to level that up, then you get a ton of value from all the card draw that you're getting. So Dancing Droplet is really the one that you want to be dancing with, if you will, putting it out on the field and then recalling it, because you get to draw that one card. You get to cycle through your deck really fast, and that is so good. That's why this is the minion that I chose, because it also it fills the 2nd slot for the Kinku Wayfinder, and you only really need these 2 you only need these 2 units for the Kinku Wayfinders to still be a really solid pick. Ezreal is obvious. You use it with Kennen. You almost never want to keep it in your opening hand. It depends on the matchup. There are some matchups where you want to keep the Ezreal, matchups that don't have a lot of removal and aren't Demacia. That's very few decks. Very few decks do you actually want to keep Ezreal. Mostly against the aggro matchups do you want to keep the Ezreal for the good, consistent removal. God Willow Seedling is still a pretty darn good card. It's not as good as it was, unfortunately, but still worthy of being a 2 of in this deck. I think that it's super strong and even could be considered a 3 of, but I don't really see it being a 3 of, just because it can get pretty awkward if you draw all 3 Godwillow Seedlings. You're like overloaded with Godwillow Seedlings, and it's 3 mana. It's relatively cheap, but it's actually kind of expensive in this deck. Anything that's 3 mana is relatively expensive for this deck. So I like having 2 of them. 3 Shadow Assassins. You love this card. This card is so good. You can dance with this card as well, although it's a little bit more expensive when you don't have the Retreat Recall. You can dance with it when you have Retreat Recall, but otherwise you want to be dancing with the Droplet. Just because the Droplet is cheaper and makes it significantly easier to level up the Kinnan and still have mana left over for an Ezreal or a Mystic Shot or a Retreat or a Twin Discipline, you know? You want to keep your mana available as much as possible. 3 Concussive Palms because it's just a really solid delay card. This has been a staple of Ionia for as long as I can remember. I've been playing the game for a little over a year now, and this card has been just a solid card throughout the whole time. I'm pretty sure it's a release card. Like it was there from day one, and it's just really solid at delaying big units. And speaking of delaying big units, there's Homecoming. Homecoming is great against dragons, against any kind of deck where you want to be, like it's great against Scion. It's great against any deck that goes wide. You can Phantom block with the Homecoming. I could see running 3 of these. Homecoming is fantastic when you have the Dancing Droplet. It's so good. You can Phantom block. You can block 1 unit and recall another unit. And since you're recalling the 1 unit, as long as the unit you're blocking doesn't have Overwhelm, you've blocked 2 units and you've gained tempo because you're recalling a 1-drop and recalling their, say, 5 or 6 drop and wasting their attack. You always want to wait until their attack to do that. That's very important. You want to get as much value as you possibly can out of the Homecoming, so you don't do it immediately. Like if they drop their Shyvana on turn 4 and they don't even have the attack token, it would be incorrect to recall the dragon in that instance. You want to wait until they have the attack token and then you recall it. That's very important to note. It's the same way with all of the recall effects. You want to wait until you can block something and recall your unit at the same time. That is a very important thing in this deck. That will be the difference between winning and losing a game. Is that 2 Denies is really solid. You just want protection for your Ezreal and your Kinnan. Very important card. It also works against the aggro matchups, denying their what's the big card? Decimate. You want to be able to deny their Decimate. And then 3 Kinku Wayfinders. It's nerfed, but it's still really good. The ability to have 2 Kinnans on the board is phenomenal, and oftentimes it is the last droplet summon that you need. Oftentimes the Kinku Wayfinder is that last summon that you need for the droplet, and getting that Kinnan leveled by turn 5 or turn 6, when you have 2 leveled Kinnans on the board and a leveled Ezreal, you just win the game. You just win the game. There's almost nothing the opponent can do to stop you. As long as you keep up mana to preserve your Ezreal, and Ezreal is worth more than the Kinnan. That's important to note too. Like if you have to choose between saving the Kinnan and saving the Ezreal, you want to save the Ezreal because you simply have more access to Kinnan. You can pull him out of the deck with the Kinku Wayfinder, so that's almost like having 3 more Kinnans. There's 6 draws in this deck that give you a Kennen, and there's only 3 that give you an Ezreal. So Ezreal is worth a little bit more. You want to save him over Kennen almost every time, because this is your win condition. Ezreal is your win condition. He turns your concussive palms into deal 2 damage to the enemy nexus. Your homecomings deal 2 damage to the enemy nexus. Your notifies, your retreats, your recalls deal 1 damage to the enemy nexus. Everything in this deck synergizes super hard with with Ezreal and Kennen. But this is your win condition. You want to protect him at all costs. And last but not least, Deep Meditation, just a solid draw card. You need to be able to draw a lot of cards with this deck. I could see this being a 3 of, but it's kind of awkward. I have the same problem with Eye of the Dragon. It can be kind of difficult, depending on what your hand is, to meet the condition of having cast 2 spells. Like when you don't have any Kennens and you do have, let's say the Godwill of Seedling and like a Shadow Assassin and Twin Disciplines and a Dancing Droplet in your hand, like that's a really good start, but it doesn't do anything for the Eye of the Dragon. It doesn't let you level the Eye of the Dragon up, or meet the condition rather. So I find it to be a little bit awkward to have as a 3 of. I like having it as a 2 of. And of course, if you play this deck yourself, I'll link the deck code in the description, and feel free to make any changes. This deck is a deck that I got from someone else. I actually took this from BBG, Bruised by God, and he got to Masters with it on he was 2nd place to get into Masters. He was the 2nd person this season to get to Masters, and he used this deck. He did use the unnerfed version of this deck, but this deck is still quite strong. The nerfs hit it, but it didn't hit it so hard that it's not still a tier 1 deck. It might be a tier 2 deck, but it's still one of the strongest decks out there. You'll get some incredibly close games, and every single decision you make matters with this deck. It can be kind of difficult to pilot. There are some key decisions that you have to make, say which one of the enemy units you give the mark to when you only have 1 mark, when to recall your units, which spells to notify and which spells to let go through, when to use your Twin Disciplines and your retreats and your recalls. There's a lot that goes into this deck, and knowing when to play certain cards is key to winning with this deck. And I think that's why I don't see a lot of it on the ladder. I hardly ever see any Kennen Ezreal on the ladder anymore, and it kind of surprises me because Kennen Ezreal is still quite strong. It's not as dominant as it was before the nerfs, but I still think it's like a good bottom of tier 1, high tier 2 deck. And I think that I have talked enough about this deck, so let's go ahead and get right into some gameplay. Alrighty, Fizz Ezreal. Interesting. Oh, heck yeah, man. Just don't have removal. Come on. Why you gotta be that way?
Witness perfection, meatbags.
So I obviously can't block that. I played the Kennen out so I can play the God Willow Seedling on the Kennen. We're gonna level Ezreal really fast with this play.
Let us take a peek at life beneath the waves.
He's not gonna use any removal on this.
Can you improve perfection?
Okay.
Safety disengage.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
System
Sure.
upgrade.
Ooh, that's a great card.
To the world below!
I possess the secrets of King Fu.
I think we use Novify first, and then whenever he has another one, then we recall. No, I did that in the wrong order. I wanted to Novify the draw card, not be deal 1 damage.
I am lightning. I break the wind.
Now we just need Kinku Wayfinder.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now.
No mana. Darn.
Sorry.
Ezreal is still 4 out of 6.
Witness perfection. Meat bags.
Bags.
Primed and ready.
Ooh, that's great. That's what I was hoping to draw last turn.
Safety disengaged.
The spirit gives to those who listen.
Oh, that's beautiful. He needed to wait until I tried to recall it and then done that. He's discarding his whole hand.
I possess the secrets of King Fu.
This is great.
Destiny awaits.
This is a solid position to be in. Leveled Ezreal, level Kennen.
I'm so good, I surprised myself.
Whew! Feels pretty darn good. And we're getting a Dragon Link next turn. Oh, it's that easy!
I serve the Kinku. They could not hope to win.
Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. Just like that. Alright, first game. Let's see what we can't get done here. I really want a dancing droplet. I think I hard mulligan for dancing droplet. There's one. There we go. Oh, and we got the Kinnan back? This is looking like an excellent hand. All we need is Godwillow Seedling.
With my spirits, not my fists.
Alrighty, alrighty.
We were never fated to
This
die.
deck requires a lot of thinking. A lot of thinking. For example, I kind of want to play the Kinku Wayfinder right now, but I think it's better to play the Ezreal, or sorry, the Kinnan first. We can mark the Pantheon because... Actually, let's not mark the Pantheon. Not yet. Damn. Fly's getting on my nerves. What did he just do? He did Pale Cascade. Okay.
Breathe in, breathe out.
6. I have just enough room to be able to play the dancing droplet here. And I think it's best to mark the Pantheon here because he is a card that we want to be able to stun at a later point. We want to deal with the threat of him. Getting all this healing is excellent. Nah. Sometimes it's worth it to go for the kill on the Wounded White Flame, but he has too much mana. There's no way that it actually works out. So let's just keep drawing. Ezreal, I keep calling him Ezreal. Kinnan. He's leveled up to 2 for the Eye of the Dragon. Unfortunately, I don't really have... I should have waited on that. No, I shouldn't have. Alright, sometimes it just works out. Sometimes it just works out. Now the Kinnan is 1 away. I just have to summon another Dragonling. So only one of these has to survive. And I need to cast 2 spells this turn. And that is a Notify. Not only does it prevent this unit from getting overwhelmed, it prevents him from drawing another card, so it helps prevent him from thinning his deck and finding the more important cards, say another White Flame. Ezreal is here, but we don't want to play him yet.
I've got your back.
This could be a play.
We must.
Waiting for the right moment.
This could be a dead Pantheon. I almost fucked that up so hard. Hey, look at that. That's a dead Pantheon, baby. And we're at 18 health. Unfortunately, there's not enough room on my board to play the second cannon on the board. But we're in a pretty decent position here. I would say we are in a definite good position. This can draw out the elusive block. And now we're just buffing the Ezreal. That's all we're really accomplishing with this. I really don't want to lose the Ezreal. The cannon! The cannon! Oh my god! I don't want to lose cannon! I also don't want to give that any more buffs than I have to. So Ezreal is leveled almost. He's almost leveled.
The dark beckons.
That's pretty solid.
Cast off your fear and stand as one.
I think that's a deny. It prevents him from leveling up the Pantheon. And it protects the cannon. Now there's nothing he can do it. He can't replay the Pantheon this turn. And the Pantheon does not level. And that's why I did that then. I want to prevent the Pantheon from leveling if at all possible. He's only got 2 more cards left. So it's very possible that he doesn't have the level. Oh yeah, that's stunned.
It's too late for you. Your lesson begins. Ready yourself.
I'm gonna go ahead and sacrifice one of these guys so I can play the King of Wayfinder next turn. Kinku Wayfinder plus Ezreal.
Extra hands never hurt.
gods will no war.
Okay, I think I summoned the Ezreal, but I don't know which unit I want to replace. I think that I want to replace the Kinku Wayfinder. And I don't think I want to attack with the Ezreal. Has Spell Shield?
Patience is a virtue, but not too much.
I can go ahead and spend one of these to get rid of that Spell Shield because I'll get 2 from the cannon. Unfortunate. But now that means I can attack with the Ezreal because he doesn't have any mana left.
We will find you a good death, my friend.
I know. I'm so good, I surprised myself.
I'm so good, I surprised myself! Hee 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 hee! Her. Hee ha hee ha!
Remember this.
He's elusive? Oh no! No fucking way! I just lost because of that. Oh my god, he's elusive. I didn't read the card. I had a decent chance at winning that game, and now I have no chance of winning this game. Now he gets to attack with Pantheon again. Shark Sight. Come on. See, that's what I'm talking about. One little misplay like that, and suddenly I've lost the game. I can't even block it.
It will be done.
There's no way I can win now.
Eyes open. Wants the ranted.
You gotta find another Ezreal. I don't even know if that was correct. Oh, look at that! Ezreal is in the house.
True display of skill.
And this time, I'm still dead. Because I can't do anything.
Wind and thunder!
I still think I'm dead. Oh, that was definitely a mistake. He had the sharp side on. He's down to 1 card. Man, if only that Pantheon didn't get lifesteal. I need to be able to deny that lifesteal. Okay, maybe there's a way we can win. Nah. That ain't it. I need a recall. Recall doesn't do it.
My shield is yours.
I need to get the 4 cost recall.
I won!
Steel is yours.
And it's fearsome, dude.
You cannot escape. Your lesson begins.
Yeah, well played. I don't even know if I can lose that game.
My goodness.
Unlucky.
Alrighty, hope you enjoyed those games. Got more coming up next. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell, and comment down below. Let me know what you want to see next. Good luck, have fun out there. See you next time.